And good Wednesday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. This may be a 3-cup kind of coffee morning. Yeah. How are you? 77 right now as we wait for a high 97, but the heat index should be somewhere around 107. And what is confusing, and we'll get to radar here in a moment, look at what the National Weather Service, at this point, they have not issued a heat advisory for the Meridian area in most of Mississippi, only northern Mississippi, and then Alabama, the entire state is. But we're still looking at a heat index of possibly 106. So I almost lean toward later this afternoon the National Weather Service issuing one of those. It's possible. They have not yet. But regardless of whether it's here or there, it's going to be hot, and you will know that. Again, between the hours of 10 and 6, I'd stay inside. If you don't have to be outside to do things, just stay away. It's going to be warm, and if you're not used to that kind of weather, it can be harmful. We don't want you to have a heat stroke or anything to that nature. Good morning. I see a lot of folks are starting to stir. Sandy White, how in the world are you today? Mary Ruth Dennis, good to see you there. Joyce Gressett, let's say all the way from DeKalb. Reggie McKee, glad to see you there. Heather Lee, good morning. See, watching from House and Nitra Humphreys, and then from Union, we got Kathy Sharp and Denise Fulton. Morning to y'all. Well, as we begin today, yesterday was just like any other day when it comes to crime. We've had our share throughout the Meridian area, and, well, it was jam-packed yesterday, as we'll get into all the headlines that began yesterday. There is a chance of severe weather. We're going to get into a detailed forecast coming up as we do weather, but let me first show you here what we've got. Quickly looking at Meridian Honda radar. As we look at this is the chance. Alabama, y'all be ready. Now, there's portions of our immediate area that will also have it, but this will stretch from Mississippi all the way up to Richmond, Virginia. We get into this and look at this where it starts here. Portions of southeastern Lauderdale County. Why not? Ricky Bobby, all the folks out there at Why Not Motorsports Park, y'all be ready. Most of Clark County and then all of Wayne County will be under this, and just tipping this all the way to the coast to Biloxi, and then eastward across a level 2, which means conditions are favorable for severe weather. Again, we'll get into that here in just a little while. Well, let's start out with stories that have gone on over the area over the last 24 hours. Working on a story, there's been an arrest in Meridian. I haven't gotten the details yet. Possibly somebody arrested for a murder. I have not gotten the details yet from the Meridian Police Department, waiting for that statement. That's going to be coming up. Here's the scene of what went on last night. And by now you've heard the story, I think. Shots were reported last night as we got into all this. And we'll show pictures of live from the scene of what went on and go deeper into this morning. But 10th Street. Streets were blocked off, somebody was shot, and a standoff began with police last night. This is the block. This is just a couple of blocks back, if you know where Comcast is. 2 blocks west of there is where this happened. This is a picture, if you go to Google, what you would find at the home. This home was surrounded by cops, as they put in, or we want to call them police officers. Some people don't like calling them cops and prefer that they be called police officers. Whichever way you want to describe that. But this is the scene of this, and here's the map as we pull this up. Initially, police got a report that someone had been shot in the arm at this location. They were taken by personal vehicle to the hospital, and as they arrived, a person was there with a gun. He ran inside the home, and that's about when the Meridian Police Department would hear gunshots fired. The subject barricaded himself in the home, and let's pull up a picture here. As we look at this, that's what the scene looked like. Spotlights were shown on the house with this. And let's just show a little bit of this video here of what we've got from last night. But that gives you an indication of what the scene was like. After he barricaded himself in the home, no one was hurt. Now, the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department SWAT team was called in to help with the situation. As I spoke with Billy Solly last night, as almost they reached it, the person gave up. This was after about an hour standoff. He gave up and come out, and as I told Billy, I guess he read that the SWAT team was coming and decided it was time to come out. Of course, jokingly about all of that. But he did give up without incident. But this went on. And we're going to talk more about this, of when police block things off, of what you should do and what you should not do. That's going to be a part of the morning show this morning. Join us at 8. I'll go into further detail on that. Tomorrow morning, we have Chris Reed coming in to be a guest with us. And I want to see if Billy can come in with us one day this week. If not, Friday, be here next week to talk with us about things that go on in our community. As this goes on, there's no secret, it's all over town, that the chief of police, Meridian, is not in town and is at a convention this week on the coast. That's been widely talked about and widely criticized. How do you feel about it? We've got an officer down. I think she'll be back for the ceremony tomorrow, but out of town during a time when the police department, where most people in Meridian feel that she should be here. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Something to think on. That is top of mind awareness for a lot of people in the Meridian area as they look to our leaders for answers. Not a lot has been said. We have had that one small press conference, and it was small and red and quick. Right before this incident happened last night, if you've got Anderson's Hospital sitting here just to the east of there, we would get reports that more gunfire. It's going to be 17th Street, 18th Avenue stop sign. Shots were reported. Now, originally, it sounded like it was somewhere else, and it was a panic, almost a scare there for a moment. But it was at a stop sign, and it was a car that fired. No one was hurt that I'm aware of, and no damage reported with this also. But it did happen. It was just before this incident went down at the home over there. Were the two tied together? Maybe. We're not really sure. But that did go on in our fair city last night, if you're from the Lauderdale County area. As the Sheriff's Department was busy also yesterday. Now, you've got to remember, they're still investigating the shooting that took place near Kewanee just a day ago, as we've got an infant in a hospital, a 5-year-old little girl that is injured by a drive-by shooting. Do they have leads? Of course they do. I'm sure they do. But if you've got information, they would love to hear from you to bring the suspect, whoever did this, to justice for shooting an elderly lady and also a 5-year-old child. Whatever the case is, it was wrong, and they need to be brought to justice. And we ask for your help if you live on the Kewanee area, J.O. Thomas Road. If you were in that area, saw something, report it to the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department. They sure could use your help on that. They were also busy. Any folks that are watching this morning that live out in the Zero community, got a lot of text of, why am I seeing so many sheriff's cars out here? They were busy. There was a man that was on the loose that they were after. They got word that he was in the area, and, well, the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department moved in to apprehend him, and that's just what they did. As we pull this up and go back to Sam Media, this is the gentleman that the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department was after, Guy McRae. You can go to Sam Media and read all about this. He was taken into custody without incident yesterday. That's why you saw so many folks out there with the Sheriff's Department running around and taking care of business. That's who they were after, and they did get their man. All ended up okay in the end, and thank heavens for that. You just never know when someone that is being chased can turn to some other means. But again, it was no incident happened with that, and that's good news. The Sheriff's Department was on that. Do you remember, we talked about this, what was it, a day ago? Newton County, as we were, the car description in the beginning was kind of mixed up as to what kind of car it was. As it entered the Meridian area, we reported it was a white Hyundai. It ended up being a white Ford SUV is what it ended up being, that was nearing Meridian at speeds well over 100 miles an hour. This gentleman would have drove off from a checkpoint, ran over a deputy's foot, trying to get away, fleeing. And that's exactly what he did, right through Meridian. As he got here, he was lost sight. A lot of law enforcement joined into that and couldn't locate him. Somehow or another, he maneuvered through Meridian and got either turned off and got back on the interstate later, whichever the case is, but he was gone. As we go now back to Sam Media to take a look at this, it didn't last long. He ran right on over to Georgia, and they had the description of the car from Newton County, and he was promptly arrested. As we see this right there, that is Donald Dunson. It started there in Newton, and he would travel, as we look at this map and we look at this, he would make it 5 hours and 16 minutes from that original place that he took off. It caught him right there with that description. As you go back and take a look at this, that's what he looked like there. Now, I don't know about you. If I were a deputy, I wouldn't care for getting my foot run over, would you? The deputy's going to be okay, but we just can't have things like that. Now, why would somebody run? You can only assume that they probably had something in the car that, well, maybe they didn't want the popo to know about. And I say the word popo because that is a jokingly common use term. It was a Ford Escape that he was driving. And again, he made it through here, but he was apprehended. A little town in Georgia there. It was called Thompson, Georgia, is where he was arrested. And as I said, you cannot run the long arm of the law. They eventually get you. And they did get him. That's the good news on that story there. As we turn to others, Shad White, let me say it properly, has been busy. He's made another arrest as we go back to Shad White's page to take a look. Someone else, embezzlement, as we pull this up. The state auditors stole over $40,000. They're asking a demand letter of $62,000. This was in Sunflower County is where this all went down. Carol Jackson, the former executive director of the nonprofit On Track, has pleaded guilty to fraud. There's a lot of that goes on in the state. And again, it starts at all level of government. Shad White is on the way, as we all have seen, of high-level folks. Doesn't matter who you are, his department seems to come after you and want justice. Shad is making himself a name in the state of Mississippi, isn't he? At least I think so. Seems to be an honest fella and really concerned about where your tax dollars go. For the life of me, I can't remember, and I'm not even sure who it was that was the state auditor before Shad. Do y'all remember? I really don't. I don't remember any arrests being made. If it were, it was just not as publicly well known, as he's doing quite a job there to let everybody know that when they arrest someone that you know about it. Maybe something did happen. We just didn't know it. But Shad White takes another bite out of crime for the taxpayers in Mississippi. He's gotten a lot of your tax dollars returned. Some of it can't be recovered, but they sure get the bad guys, don't they? As we go last night, let's go to Clark County. Boy, it looks like they had Stonewall Police Department. Anybody watching from Clark County? Stonewall. The police department was busy. They pulled someone over, and as they were running those driver's license, they realized that they had a warrant out for them in Lauderdale County. They go back to the car to, well, apprehend. Since you've got a warrant, you have to go to jail. They didn't take too kindly to that, and a foot chase began. Right there, right up in the middle of Stonewall, Mississippi. Stonewall PD was all over that. He now faces multiple charges and fleeing from police. That will be added to that. Never good to do that. And I wanted to show this as we go to Clark County Hot Topics. As we go down to the Pine Hill community in Clark County to take a look at an accident that happened there. Someone called the police and reported someone walking around in front of their house beating on the windows. They couldn't figure out who it was. They didn't know him. They didn't answer the door. You can't blame anybody for that. The Clark County Sheriff's Department, Todd Kemp sent some folks out, and, well, this is what they come up on. They found this first. Fairly brand new truck up in the tree there. Pretty dangerous there. Now, the person has not been identified. Airbags, as you can see, all went out and they run off the road there. Up into the bushes they went. The person seemed to be, well, what's the word for it that we say here in the South? Intoxicated. They were on that good old Mountain Dew that was walking. Turns out, as he told officers, yes, but he had not been driving, that he had a female in the vehicle that was driving. She collaborated a story, no arrest. It's an ongoing investigation, but don't blame the homeowners. We live in a different time these days, to where we saw that in the state of Mississippi where that 82-year-old man pulled over and to help somebody and was beat nearly to death. People just can't be as trustworthy as they once were. I don't know if people are worse now or if it's just more commonly known what the bad people do. Almost lean toward there's worse people in the world now. They're not scared of the law. They'll do whatever they want because they could care less. They just don't think the police will get them. Brenda, how are you doing there? Also watching Leela Davis, Stonewall. How are y'all doing watching from there? Glad to see you. Let's see, as we start looking around the state of Mississippi, we see that in Tupelo, Mississippi, the remains of a young lady has been identified. A lady went missing last year. a 58-year-old woman from Tupelo. The Lee County coroner has confirmed that the remains that have been found is Lori Cockrell. I know it's closure for the family, but always still sad at the same time when a body is identified of some woman that was missing. That was in Tupelo. We pass along condolences to that family also. Louisville, are y'all watching this morning? Whoa. Had some issues going over there. A lady's been arrested and again, accused is what this is. I wasn't at the scene, but as we go to this, a woman in the Louisville area has been arrested for trying to run over a man not once, but twice. Deborah Jordan was arrested for aggravated assault and DUI. I think she made the block and came back by. Again, I wasn't there. I didn't witness it, but that's the headlines this morning. Woo. Let's see here. We've got a new case of West Nile virus reported in Mississippi. Oktibbeha County has that. I almost thought that had went away. I hadn't heard much out of it. But Oktibbeha County, we've got our first case of that being reported this year. Mr. Fix-It, we go to Rankin County. And always be careful with this. We talk about this when a storm comes through and somebody shows up and offers to help. They need money to fix whatever it is, and you pay them cash up front, and guess what? They never come back. They caught a guy. He got 10 years for it. He's going to serve 5 and have 5 on probation. Jamie Sullivan is the man's name. He was offering to fix garage doors. They got his number. That's a pretty strong sentence. I'm glad they done that. We talked yesterday morning of a 9-year-old boy that was hit in Biloxi, Mississippi, trying to cross the road, and whoever did it, it was a hit and run. The person that did it turned themselves in. Brianna Nicole Shivler, she's 27, of the Biloxi area, turned herself in later yesterday afternoon. The young man did receive some serious injuries there and has been flown to a hospital for recovery. I hope that all gets better. This would be a bad note. How many of us ever sit back and you always talk about friends? You remember when we didn't have the lottery in the state of Mississippi. You go to Florida, Louisiana, and all pitch in to buy a lottery ticket, and if you won, you'd split it. Well, what happens if you've got that winning ticket? You've done this back in, say, December. Your ticket is worth $185,000. It runs out somewhere around noon today. If it is not claimed, they forfeit it. That's in the state of Mississippi. Last night, that was around lunchtime or yesterday afternoon, they were saying they had less than 24 hours to win it. No one has claimed it to my knowledge. It's running out somewhere around noonish today. I don't have the exact time, but by the end of dark 30 today, it'll be too late. You won't be able to claim your money. Check those tickets if you happen to buy a scratch-off ticket there earlier in the year. A lot of money there. Let's see here. Police over on the western side of the state, over in Warren County, that'd be over near Vicksburg, still looking for a guy that shot his brother. They must have got in an argument, and they're looking for him. The suspect has been identified as Michael Moreno. Hadn't turned himself in yet. And beware of this. A lot of us and I've gotten a lot of pictures of people taking vacations this year. Keep this in mind, and no matter where you go, maybe you want to camp out, do the tent thing. The Great Smoky Mountains. Beware. A mom and her 3-year-old child has been injured. Why? Well, a bear wanted to get in the tent with them. Those claws go right through your tent. And it did just that. Nothing serious, but they were injured. Nothing like having a ham sandwich next to you that says, come on in. Keep that in mind if you ever go camping. Older I get, I kind of like that Holiday Inn feel. A locked door. A hot shower. But still, there's some folks that like to do it in the wild there. Keep that in mind. Arkansas, just to our northwest here, a police officer has been arrested. What did he do? 30-year-old Walden Shepard, he's a former Camden police officer there in Arkansas. He's been arrested for 12 counts of rape and 12 counts of computer exploitation. How horrible is that? The only good thing to that story is he has been arrested. Someone in the law enforcement doing that is no excuse for that. This is sad. And we don't know all that. It read over in Alabama, just across the state there. At a daycare, a 4-month-old baby was found deceased under a blanket at a daycare. My wife, y'all have to forgive me. I was always very cautious with children when they were babies. I didn't even like to feed Dylan Ray and Madison when they were infants because I was afraid that I could not do something if they got choked. It bothered me to no end. I always let Angie kind of handle that. And I'd change a diaper, but when it come to feeding, I was always afraid they would get choked and I couldn't do anything. But apparently, the child was on the stomach, and you can't lay a child like that. I wasn't aware, but the child has died. It was in Red Bay, Alabama, is where that happened. The mother was from Mississippi. Funeral services are scheduled. The daycare has been shut down. Horrible, horrible news there. As we look around, this is just sad as we look at it. I'll do one national story, and then we'll go to weather. There's a lot to talk about nationally, as we could this morning. But do y'all remember the pictures that were taken of our border agents on their horses? And the horses' reins. The photographer was just right, if you'll remember on this, and it looked like maybe they were hitting somebody with the reins. Well, after further investigation, they had done absolutely nothing wrong. They had not hit anyone with this, and the President of the United States vowed to discipline them. And again, they were proven innocent. They were cleared, and despite all of that, Biden, the guy up at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, is still promising to punish them. Where is justice in America? You do that to police, how do you make that makes them feel? Our leader making a move against the police that didn't do anything wrong. That bothers me, and it should bother you. Lord help us if you disagree, but you're more than welcome to tell me that if you don't agree with that statement. They done nothing wrong. They were cleared of that. And again, the picture was just right. It was at an angle to where it did look that way. But if you were to walk on the other side of that picture, they didn't do it. They were falsely accused. What's that old saying of, don't believe anything you hear and half of everything you see? A perfect example of that as we get into that. Sad that our country would do something like that. Oh, I even remember some judges that people threw, how do you pronounce it, Molotov cocktails into police cars and into police stations and burned them. All charges were dropped. You've heard those cases, and it was true. That did happen in the United States. Just sets a standard that's not right. Shakes me, it bothers me. 2022, 24. You can change all that by simply doing this, by voting. Things like that bother you, head to a poll near you. Make sure to cast your ballot. Take a neighbor with you. Knock on a door. Make it a block around your house. Make sure that people with you go vote. If they got people that are off to college, make sure, urge them weeks in advance to fill out absentee voting. Our votes have to count. We can't continue to let America be ruled by people that, don't have the best interests of our country in heart. There's so many of us that do, that love America and want to keep America. And the only way to do that is by voting. And we have to go out in full force. As we near this come November, take that in mind and see if you can't get somebody to vote. Remember, if you've got somebody that's got folks that are out of town, if they've got children in college that can vote but they're not going to be back here, make sure to get somebody to fill out one of those. Don't rush off. We're going to be right back. We're going to tell you all about what's going on with the weather next here at the Scotty Ray Report.
H&H Residential of Meridian is your #1 carpet and flooring store. If you've been thinking of a new look for your home or office, call for a free estimate or consultation. H&H can install, or you can do it yourself. H&H has all of your design needs from color, style, and texture. If you can dream it, H&H can make it a reality. Come see the large selection of hardwood flooring, laminate, vinyl, and even carpet. H&H Residential of Meridian, open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, 321 Hawkins Crossing Road. Call Rosemary anytime, 601-462-9541.
As the days get hotter, Sanders Gas reminds you to get your air conditioner tuned up. Sanders Gas can repair or replace your whole unit, whichever you need. Talk to Sanders about a tankless water heater now and never run out of hot water. Find out how easy and affordable it is to cook on gas stoves. And those backyard barbecues are coming. Don't run out of gas. Get yours refilled today. Sanders Gas, since 1946, 611 26th Avenue South, 601-693-4054.
That air conditioner's not cooling just right. Speak to Chuck. They'll get somebody out to help you there. As we go over to Meridian Honda Radar, look at this. It is hot That's all across the south. As I mentioned earlier, this area right here at this point, no heat advisory. Northern Mississippi there is, and all of Alabama, Georgia, most of Florida, and we go up into the Carolinas also have it, even into Tennessee and parts of Arkansas. Look at this heat wave. Now, we're being predicted at getting at least 106 on the index side this afternoon. I would think that this could possibly change, and we go under this a little bit later on today. As we look at this, we go up the East Coast, all is fine, but hot weather all the way up to Milwaukee. Look at that. As we cut across, we do have some showers there in Minnesota. We've got a little bit across, well, up in the Dakotas there, Billings, Great Falls. As we get over to the West Coast, believe it or not, just a little fog in Portland. As we come down through Arizona and back down through Texas, a little bit of showers there in between Laredo and Corpus Christi. What was it, Chris Cagle, Laredo? Y'all remember that song? That's what's going on there. All right, let's get deeper into our forecast this morning and let you know exactly what to expect as you begin your day.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Record highs, record lows. It was 1963. Bob Seger sang about that too, didn't he? 100 degrees was set on this date. And 02, we had a nice cool day of 55. We will be far from that today. Don't expect it to be cool anywhere except inside your house. As we look at what's happening today, 96 to 97 is what is predicted today. The heat index, 106. Y'all be careful. 95 through Philadelphia. And that will go on up toward Mississippi State through Louisville, Knox, Pater, and those areas to the south. Hattiesburg at least 95, and we'll 94 over the big bridge there. As we come across to take a look at Alabama, 97, and Selma, Tuscaloosa, 98 degrees. Y'all be ready. Keep cool over there. As we come down, heat stress this week. This is all the way through Saturday. We don't expect it to loosen up any. And they were stretching a little further. I said, watch it till 6. The National Weather Service says, watch it till 7 o'clock at night. After that, you might want to go out and do your weed eating. So keep that on top of mind. As we look at the severe weather possibilities, we looked at this when we first started this. Meridian area up through Philadelphia to Kemper and Knoxville County, a level 1 down to Clark as well. Clark's going to get a level 2. That's 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Alabama will have a much larger chance as their heat advisory there today. And as we look at the severe weather chances there through Demopolis all the way up to Gadsden, Auburn, Alabama, y'all stand a risk there of a level 2 there. Damaging winds of 60 miles an hour, quarter-size hail. We'll be here through all this to keep you updated with this as nighttime comes. And look at this heat wave. It's sitting right on top of us as we looked at that all the way up to Milwaukee. From here in Mississippi, due north, taking in Texas, all these areas. And here's our breakdown of what we've got today and what to expect when it comes to the weather. The National Weather Service is telling us about 96. Our radar says 95. I'm going to go with 96 because, well, it's hot. Heat index values of about 106. Now, there's a small chance we could get a sprinkle between 10 and 1, but the bigger chance will come after 1 o'clock as it moves over to Alabama there for more serious weather. Tonight, partly cloudy, down to only 75 for a low. Tomorrow brings about a 20% chance of showers, and we'll get about 97 for tomorrow. Heat index already projected to be 107 tomorrow. By Friday, 99 for our high. That's a little low. National Weather Service is bumping it there, 97 to 99. We're going to be so close to 100, it will spook you. The same comes for Saturday. Anywhere between 95 and 99 is expected all the way through next week. Look at that, 96. Let's jump another week into June and go all the way through the 29th. By the 23rd, 102. By the 24th, we're seeing temperatures guessed at 103. And y'all think it's going to be a cool summer yet? Missing December, aren't we? Whew. Let's look at that National Hurricane Center. 40% chance of this becoming something. Now, this will turn and go back into Mexico. It's not going to be a threat at this point anywhere in the Gulf. Expected to go back in here. We'll watch it, though, in case it were to come back out in form over the next 5 days as we get that projection. Best times to fish today? Well, it is here. What we've got is going to be a great time to go out this morning. A minor time around 10:30 this afternoon being your best time from about 2:30 to 4:30. But I warn you, it will be hot and really not fun to fish as we get calm wind, northwest around 5 miles an hour. And again, that's a quick look at our forecast. We're going to be back 1 hour from now. Candace is coming in. We'll tell you all about what's going on in Meridian in more detail, what's going on in your community. As always, if you know something, let us know about it so we can spread the word and get that out there. thank y'all for coming and visiting with me this morning. I appreciate it. We'll see you very soon. Like I said, in exactly 60 minutes, we'll be back live telling more. Join us right here at the Scotty Ray Report. See you soon.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: